The stars were quiet, but silence never meant safety. Commander Rahul sat inside the dim control room of Outpost 17, staring at the monitors that track signals across the edge of human space. For weeks, there had been nothing but routine reports and the hum of machines. The station was small, barely more than a watchtower floating at the edge of nowhere. The crew often complained about boredom, but Rahul preferred quiet duty. War and chaos had followed him for most of his life, and the silence gave him time to breathe. That silence ended when the distress beacon lit up. At first, the sound was faint, a soft repeating tone echoing through the speakers. Technician Myra frowned at her console and adjusted the filters. The signal grew sharper, a steady pulse that cut through the static. Rahul leaned forward. "Where is that coming from?" he asked. Myra's hands danced across the controls. "Not from any nearby station. It looks ancient, Commander. The code is very old. Pre-Union era." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Pre-Union meant it came from a time before humanity had signed treaties with alien powers, a time when humans had fought their wars alone. Rahul felt his chest tighten. "Trace it," he ordered. The beacon was coming from a dead asteroid field not far from the outpost. That region was marked as restricted, abandoned long ago after several mining colonies failed. No one lived there now, and no ship had reason to hide within those rocks. Yet the beacon pulsed, steady and strong, like a heart refusing to die. Within an hour, Rahul gathered a small team and launched a scout shuttle. The closer they moved into the asteroid belt, the clearer the signal became. The rocks drifted in silence, massive shadows gliding past their hull. The shuttle lights cut through the darkness, and Myra gasped as the source finally came into view. Buried deep within the largest asteroid was a massive warship. Its hull was scarred and half covered by stone, as though time itself had tried to erase its existence. But the ship was still intact, and the beacon was coming directly from its core. The crew fell silent, staring at the giant relic. Rahul felt his throat dry. He had studied pictures of ships like this in old academy books, ships spoken of with both awe and fear. This was not a cruiser or a carrier. This was a juggernaut, one of the colossal machines built during the darkest days of humanity's wars. They were said to be too destructive, too dangerous to keep in service. Every record claimed they had all been dismantled or hidden away. Yet one sat before him now, asleep inside a tomb of stone. The shuttle docked against a sealed port. The metal hatch hissed as it opened, releasing stale air that smelled of rust and dust. The crew stepped inside with flashlights, beams cutting through endless corridors of steel. Every step echoed, as if the ship itself remembered the sound of soldiers marching within. Myra whispered, "It feels alive." Rahul said nothing. His boots carried him to the central chamber, where a massive control sphere sat dark and quiet. Cables and screens surrounded it like veins around a heart. This was the command core, where the ship's artificial intelligence would have once operated. He wiped dust from the nearest console and brushed his gloved hand over the controls. To his surprise, the console flickered weakly, lights crawling back to life after centuries of sleep. A deep vibration spread through the floor. The crew stepped back as the entire chamber began to glow with faint blue lines. Then a voice spoke. "Identify." The sound was cold, mechanical, yet carried a presence that shook Rawl's chest. He forced himself to answer. "Commander Rahul. Human Fleet, Outpost 17. The blue lines brightened. The voice spoke again, this time more steady. "Human. Signal received. This unit is designated Titanus. Status, dormant. Last mission, defend humanity from extinction. Report the state of the war." The crew froze. Myra's eyes widened in disbelief. She looked at Rahul, waiting for him to speak. Rahul cleared his throat. "The war you speak of ended centuries ago. Humanity survived, but we are not what we were. The union of alien species dominates now. We are fractured, weaker than before. Silence followed. The chamber hummed, the AI processing his words. Finally, the voice replied, "Mission incomplete. Humanity not secure. Defense protocol requires reactivation. Do you authorize?" The crew exchanged nervous glances. They all knew the stories. Juggernauts like Titanus had leveled entire fleets, their weapons powerful enough to erase planets. Governments had hidden them away for fear they would bring more destruction than protection. To awaken this ship was to release a storm long chained. Rawls' pulse quickened. He felt the weight of choice pressing down on him. This ship could bring hope to a broken humanity, or it could ignite fear across the galaxy. Still, looking at the flickering lights and hearing the steady mechanical tone, Rahul realized something. Humanity had been bowing too long. Perhaps it was time to stand again. He took a breath. "I authorize." The chamber roared to life. Lights blazed across the walls, engines deep within the asteroid groaned awake, and the floor shook as if the giant ship was stretching after a long sleep. The beacon's pulse grew into a steady thunder, echoing through every corridor. The forgotten juggernaut was no longer silent. Humanity's storm had been reborn. The ship Titanus shook as its massive systems powered up after centuries of silence. The sound of ancient engines hummed through the steel corridors, vibrating under the crew's boots. Dust fell from the ceilings as long-dead lights flickered awake, spreading a pale glow across the interior. For the crew of Outpost 17, it felt like stepping inside the heart of a sleeping giant that had just opened its eyes. Commander Rahul kept his stance firm, though his heart pounded. He had given the order to activate the ship, and now there was no turning back. The crew looked to him for direction, fear and wonder shining in their eyes. The deep, steady voice of the artificial intelligence filled the chamber again. "Systems online. Power at 20%. Weapons dormant. Awaiting directives." Myra, standing by one of the consoles, whispered, "It really is alive." The AI continued, "Commander Rahul, you carry human command insignia. Confirm authority." Rahul lifted the old patch sewn on his uniform, showing the faded emblem of the human fleet. "Confirmed," he said. The sphere at the center of the chamber pulsed with light. "Authority confirmed. I am Helion, tactical intelligence of Titanus. Mission, protect humanity from annihilation. Threat assessment required. State the condition of human fleets." Rahul took a breath, knowing his words would shape the machine's view of the present. "Our fleets are not what they once were. Humanity has grown weak. We are divided, scattered across colonies. The union of alien powers rules most of the galaxy. Humans live under their laws, and our defenses are thin." The glow inside the chamber darkened, as if the ship itself felt the weight of his words. Helion spoke with measured calm. "Status, unacceptable. Humanity's survival is at risk. Activation of full defense required." The crew shifted nervously. Rahul could see the conflict in their faces. They had grown up under the Union, hearing how dangerous these old machines were. If the aliens discovered they had awakened Titanus, the punishment would be severe. Yet, at the same time, the thought of humanity having such a weapon stirred something long-buried hope. Rahul steadied his voice. "Helion, what are your capabilities?" The chamber lit up as data scrolled across the walls. The ship's arsenal was listed in cold detail. Planetary shields, rail cannons longer than cities, energy lances able to pierce dreadnoughts, and the sun spear cannon, a weapon that could shatter moons. The crew stared at the list, their fear rising with every word. "Good stars," Myra muttered, her hands trembling. "No wonder they locked this thing away." Helion spoke again, its tone unshaken. "This unit is incomplete without its crew. Humans are required to operate secondary systems. Shall I begin activation of recruitment protocols? Rahul frowned. Recruitment protocols. Message beacons can be sent to human colonies, Helion explained. Volunteers will come. A crew loyal to humanity's survival, not alien treaties. The suggestion sent a chill through the room. To send out beacons would mean revealing Titanus to the galaxy. There would be no hiding after that. Rahul weighed the risk in his mind. If humanity knew of this ship, many would rally. But so too would the Union learn of it, and their response would be swift and violent. Before Rahul could answer, a new signal blinked on Myra's console. She tapped the controls and froze. Commander, incoming report from the front. Human fleets under Union command are being crushed at Zareth Line. Entire colonies may fall. The chamber fell into silence. Rahul closed his eyes for a moment. He could almost see the faces of those colonies, ordinary people who trusted the Union to protect them, only to be abandoned. He turned to the glowing sphere. Helion, can this ship fight now? Helion's voice was steady. At current power levels, only 30% of weapons are online. But even at minimum, this ship can neutralize enemy fleets. Rahul opened his eyes and looked at his crew. We cannot stay silent. If we do, humanity will be erased. This ship was built for one purpose. It is time we use it. Myra hesitated. Commander, if the Union finds out, they will brand us rebels. Rawl's voice hardened. Better to be called rebels than slaves. Humanity must stand. Helion's lights pulsed brightly. Directive confirmed. Titanus will prepare for combat. Engines powering. Weapon systems aligning. Awaiting coordinates for deployment. The floor shook as the Juggernaut's buried engines roared to life. The asteroid shell around it cracked and split, chunks of rock falling away as the ship tore free of its prison. Slowly, the colossal hull emerged from the dust and stone, wings of steel unfolding like the arms of a titan. From the shuttle's viewport, the crew watched in awe as Titanus revealed itself in full. The ship was larger than any they had ever seen, its hull scarred by battles long forgotten but still unbroken. Rahul felt the weight of history pressing down on him. Once, humanity had commanded such giants with pride. Now, he was the one bringing it back to life. Helion, Rahul said firmly, set course for the Zareth line. The AI responded without hesitation. Course plotted. Humanity's enemies will face judgment. The Juggernaut shifted, its engines glowing with ancient power. The crew held their breath as the ship surged forward into the void. For the first time in centuries, one of humanity's ultimate war machines was awake, moving to meet the front lines. And across the galaxy, those who once mocked humanity as weak and broken would soon feel fear again. The stars ahead burned with the glow of war. From the bridge of Titanus, Rahul and his small crew watched as new reports streamed in. The Zareth line, once a strong human defense, was falling apart under the pressure of the alien coalition. Dozens of human ships were already destroyed, and entire colonies faced occupation. Myra's voice shook as she read the data. Commander, the Union fleets are retreating. They are abandoning the human colonies on the outer rim. Rahul clenched his fists. He was not surprised. The Union promised protection but always treated humans as expendable. For years, humanity had been told to obey, to stay quiet, and to let the aliens lead. But now, as he watched colony after colony marked as lost, Rahul knew the truth. The Union had never intended to save them. Helion's steady voice filled the bridge. Enemy fleets detected. Alien forces number in the hundreds. Human fleets remaining, less than 20. Probability of survival without reinforcement, below 3%. Myra looked at Rahul with fear. Commander, if we engage them, the Union will know we reactivated this ship. They will come after us. Rahul turned his gaze to the massive view of the stars. Titanus was already awake, its power humming through every steel wall. The choice had already been made. Better they fear us than bury us. Set course. We join the fight. The juggernaut surged forward, leaving behind the asteroid field that had hidden it for so long. Its engines blazed like a second sun, and its shadow stretched across the void. When they arrived at the edge of the Zareth battlefield, the scene was chaos. Human ships were scattered, fleeing as alien destroyers and cruisers tore through their lines. The Union fleets that had promised support were already gone, leaving only wreckage in their wake. Civilians screamed through open comms, begging for help. Raoul stood tall on the bridge. Helion, open a channel to the human ships. The AI obeyed. Raul's voice carried across the battlefield. This is Commander Raoul aboard the warship Titanus. Hold your ground. You are not alone. Humanity will not fall today. Hope sparked in voices across the comms. Captains who had been ready to flee now paused, stunned by the name Titanus. Old stories of the juggernauts lived in every human memory, tales whispered as myths. Now, one had returned. The alien fleet soon noticed as well. Their signals grew frantic, warning each other that a forbidden machine had appeared. The coalition had believed all juggernauts destroyed. Now their enemy's nightmare stood before them. Commander, Helion reported calmly, weapons charged. Targeting solutions ready. Do you authorize engagement? Raul's eyes narrowed. He thought of the abandoned colonies, of the civilians screaming for help. He gave a sharp nod. Engage. The silence of space broke with thunder. Massive cannons fired, hurling projectiles at impossible speed. Energy lances cut across the battlefield, slicing alien ships in half. A single blast from the Sun Spear cannon tore through an entire enemy formation, leaving only burning fragments drifting in the void. The human fleet gasped over the comms. By the stars, it's real. The juggernaut fights for us. In minutes, the balance of the battle shifted. Where human ships had been cornered, Titanus blasted open paths of escape. Alien cruisers that had hunted helpless civilians were themselves hunted, destroyed one after another. Fear spread through the coalition ranks. Yet the aliens were not without courage. More fleets warped into the system, determined to bring the juggernaut down. Raoul watched as hundreds of ships repositioned to surround them. Helion spoke without hesitation. They intend to swarm us. Recommend use of planetary shield protocols. Raoul nodded. Do it. The ship glowed with a shimmering barrier that enveloped its hull. Alien blasts struck, but the shield absorbed the fire like a wall of light. The juggernaut pushed forward, its guns answering with unstoppable force. On the ground of Zareth Prime, civilians lifted their eyes to the sky. For days, they had waited for rescue that never came. Now they saw beams of light cutting through the darkness and alien warships falling in flames. Whispers spread through the crowds, humanity had risen again. As the battle raged, Myra glanced at Raoul. Commander, do you realize what this means? The Union will see this not as salvation, but rebellion. They will come for us. Raul's expression was grim, but his voice steady. Let them come. Humanity has been quiet for too long. If they fear us, then so be it. Helion's voice joined him, calm and unshaken. This unit exists to defend humanity. If the Union chooses to be enemy, they will be treated as enemy. The bridge fell silent, each crew member understanding the road they had chosen. There was no return to safety. By awakening Titanus, they had changed history. The battle ended with the alien coalition in retreat. Burning wrecks floated through the void, and human ships gathered near Titanus, their crews cheering with voices full of hope. They hailed Raoul not just as a commander, but as the man who had brought back humanity's storm. Across the galaxy, alien leaders received the news with dread. The name Titanus returned to their councils like a ghost from the past. Fear spread in every hall of power, and whispers grew louder. If one juggernaut still existed, perhaps others might too. On the bridge, Raoul stared into the stars. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. "The galaxy thought humanity was broken. Let them see what happens when we rise again." The lights of Titanus pulsed, its AI answering in its steady tone. "Directive confirmed. Humanity will stand." The battlefield was quiet at last. Wreckage drifted through space, glowing embers from the destroyed alien fleets painting the darkness with faint light. Human ships circled near Titanus, their crews sending signals of gratitude and disbelief. For them, the Juggernaut was not just a warship, it was a legend made real. Commander Raoul stood at the center of the bridge, his hands resting on the rail as he studied the survivors' reports. Many ships had been saved because of Titanus, but thousands of lives were still lost. The victory was costly, but it had proven one thing. Humanity was not finished. Myra broke the silence, her voice carrying awe. "Commander, the crews are calling Titanus humanity's shield. They say we gave them hope again." Raoul nodded slowly. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing harder with every passing moment. Hope was dangerous. It could unite people, but it could also draw enemies faster than fire drew moths. Helian's steady voice filled the chamber. "Commander, incoming transmissions from multiple colonies. Word of our action has spread. Civilians request protection. Some ask to join the crew." Raoul exchanged a glance with Myra. "It begins," he said. "The galaxy knows we are awake now." While the colonies sent messages of hope, the alien coalition was not silent either. Helian displayed intercepted signals across the screens. Dozens of alien fleets were regrouping, calling for reinforcements. Raoul studied the data with a calm, steady gaze. "They are afraid," Helian explained. "Records confirm that alien species once called Titanus a destroyer of worlds. They will now assemble larger forces to counter us." Myra bit her lip. "If they bring everything they have, can even this ship hold them off?" Helian did not hesitate. "At full power, this unit is capable of neutralizing entire armadas. However, current power is only 60%. Continued combat will increase risk." Raoul straightened. "Then we fight smart. We strike first, and we strike hard enough to make them think twice." The decision came sooner than expected. Hours later, Helian detected a massive alien fleet preparing to invade the human colony of Arden Prime. The aliens had chosen their target carefully. Arden was not just a colony, it was a trade hub, a place where humans and aliens lived side by side. To lose it would not only wound humanity but also shatter their growing reputation. Raoul looked at the map glowing across the screens. Dozens of alien cruisers and carriers were gathering, certain of victory. He took a breath, then gave the order. "Set course for Arden Prime. If they want to test us, we will give them their answer." The journey was short. As Titanus emerged from hyperspace, the alien fleet was already in position. Their ships formed a wall of firepower, weapons locked on the colony below. Civilians on Arden Prime screamed through open comms, desperate for salvation. Raul's voice carried across the battlefield. "This is Commander Raoul of Titanus. Arden Prime will not fall. Humanity stands with you." The aliens answered with silence, then opened fire. Beams of energy streaked through the void, slamming against Titanus shields. The Juggernaut did not flinch. Its barrier shimmered, absorbing the blasts like waves striking a cliff. "Helian," Raoul commanded, his voice firm, "return fire." The Juggernaut roared. Rail cannons launched thunder across the battlefield. Energy lances pierced alien cruisers, tearing them apart. A single shot from the Sun Spear cannon cut through 3 enemy carriers in one strike. The darkness lit up with explosions, fragments scattering like sparks. The humans on Arden Prime watched in awe as their sky turned into a battlefield of fire and light. Where they had expected defeat, they saw the might of their own kind striking back. But the aliens did not retreat easily. Wave after wave of fighters swarmed Titanus, clawing at the shields. Dreadnoughts unleashed their heaviest firepower, trying to overwhelm the juggernaut. For every alien ship destroyed, more pressed forward. Myra shouted over the noise of alarms. "Commander, they are trying to surround us." Rawl's eyes burned with determination. "Then we break their line." "Helion, focus fire on the flagship." The AI obeyed. The juggernaut's weapons concentrated into a single, devastating strike. The enemy flagship, a massive vessel twice the size of a city, tried to raise its shields. It was too late. The Sun Spear cannon unleashed its fury, tearing through the ship's heart. The flagship exploded in a burst of light that blinded sensors across the field. The alien fleet hesitated. Their leader was gone, their morale shattered. In that moment of weakness, Rahul gave the command. "Advance. Show them no fear." Titanus pushed forward, guns blazing, cutting down ship after ship. Human survivors from the colony cheered over the comms as the alien fleet broke apart, retreating in chaos. When the last enemy ship jumped out of the system, silence returned. The sky above Arden Prime was clear once more. On the ground, humans wept with relief. They looked up at the juggernaut glowing above them, and hope filled their hearts. For the first time in generations, they believed humanity could fight back. Myra turned to Rahul, her voice trembling. "We did it. We saved them." Rahul nodded, but his expression remained hard. "This is only the first strike. The aliens will not stop here. The Union will not ignore us either. What we did today will echo across the stars." Helion's voice followed, calm and unwavering. "Commander, humanity has awakened. The galaxy will no longer see your kind as weak." Rahul looked out at the stars beyond the viewport. The war was far from over, but in that moment, he knew the truth. Humanity was rising again, and nothing could stop it. The victory at Arden Prime shook the galaxy. Word spread faster than light, carried by traders, refugees, and broken fleets. Everywhere, the name Titanus was whispered with both awe and fear. For humans on the colonies, the news was like fire in the dark. Families who had once believed the Union's promises now looked to Rahul and his ship as the true guardians of their people. Messages poured in, pledges of loyalty, and offers of volunteers who wanted to serve aboard the juggernaut. For the first time in centuries, humanity was beginning to unite under its own banner again. But among the alien councils, fear grew like a storm. In the great chamber of the Veyron Dominion, the lords of three species argued bitterly. "This cannot be tolerated," one alien growled, its scaled face twisting with anger. "That ship should not exist. It was banned by the Union itself. If humanity is allowed to control it, the balance of power will shatter." Another, taller alien with metallic skin replied in a cold tone. "Do not forget the records. Titanus was the weapon that burned fleets during the old wars. Entire systems fell because of its guns. If humanity has awakened it, then they will rise again." The third leaned forward, its many eyes glittering. "Then we must act together. No single fleet can defeat a juggernaut. We will assemble a coalition stronger than any before. If necessary, we will burn every human colony until that ship is forced to surrender." The council agreed. Across the galaxy, orders were sent. Massive fleets began gathering, preparing for war not just against a colony but against humanity itself. Aboard Titanus, Rahul studied the intercepted reports with a heavy expression. He stood on the bridge while Myra worked the consoles beside him. "They are afraid," Rahul said quietly. "Afraid enough to bring everything they have." Myra frowned. "If they send such a force, even Titanus could be overwhelmed." Helian's calm voice filled the chamber. Correct. Their numbers may grow beyond this unit's capacity. Suggests strategic movement. Select targets carefully, avoid prolonged engagement, and inspire maximum morale among humans. Rahul nodded. We cannot fight every battle. But we can choose the ones that matter. Still, the threat was clear. Every alien fleet that gathered meant death waiting for humanity. The Union, instead of offering aid, sent a message to Rahul directly. The message was read aloud on the bridge. Commander Rahul. Cease operation of the vessel Titanus. Stand down and surrender the ship to Union authorities. Failure to comply will result in your designation as enemy of peace, and humanity will suffer the consequences. The words made Myra slam her fist against the console. They call themselves protectors, but they would rather see us weak. They are no different from the aliens preparing to destroy us. Rawls' face was hard, but his voice steady. The Union fears us just as much as our enemies do. To them, humanity rising is a threat. To me, it is survival. Helian responded with certainty. Commander Rahul, this unit exists to defend humanity. If the Union attempts to seize control, they will be classified as hostile. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Each crew member understood the line they had crossed. There was no going back to peace under the Union. They were rebels now in the eyes of the galaxy, but to their own people, they were heroes. Later, Rahul walked alone through the long corridors of Titanus. The steel walls vibrated with power, humming like the heartbeat of a giant. He stopped before one of the great viewing windows, where the stars stretched endlessly. He thought of the lives depending on him now. Not just soldiers, but farmers, families, children on distant colonies. They all looked to him to keep them safe. He was not only a commander anymore. He was becoming a symbol. Back on the bridge, a new signal arrived. Helian spoke calmly. Commander, reports confirm that the alien coalition is assembling near the Vera system. Their fleet numbers exceed 1,000 warships. They intend to strike a human stronghold next. Rahul returned, his eyes burning with resolve. Then we will meet them there. If they think they can crush us, let them face the storm. Myra hesitated. Commander, Vera is one of our last great strongholds. If it falls, humanity may never recover. That is why we must defend it, Rahul said. If we win there, the galaxy will see humanity is not just surviving, we are fighting back. Helian's lights pulsed across the chamber. Directive confirmed. Course set for Vera. Prepare for the siege. As Titanus turned through the stars, carrying its small crew toward the greatest battle yet, the galaxy trembled. Alien leaders tightened their grip on power, fearing what was to come. Human colonies prepared for war, ready to rally behind their juggernaut. And at the heart of it all, Rahul stood unshaken. The fear spreading across the stars was proof of one thing. Humanity had awakened, and nothing could stop the storm they had begun. The Vera system was a jewel of human colonies, a shining example of what humanity could build when left to its own devices. Its cities glittered on the planets below like clusters of stars, and the orbital stations hummed with life. But all of that beauty was under threat. Scouts from Titanus reported a massive alien coalition massing on the edge of the system. Their numbers were overwhelming, thousands of warships ready to descend. Commander Rahul stood on the bridge, watching the holographic map as it displayed the approaching fleets. His jaw was tight. They think they can take Vera without resistance, he said. They are about to learn what happens when they underestimate humanity. Myra's fingers flew across the controls, monitoring every signal. Commander, the fleet is enormous. Even with Titanus, we could be overwhelmed if they attack all at once. Rawls' gaze did not leave the map. Then we divide them. Helian, deploy decoy signals. Make them believe the defense is scattered. Helian's lights pulsed in agreement. Decoy protocol active. Enemy targeting compromised. Probability of successful engagement increased. As the alien ships entered Vera's space, confusion spread through their ranks. Sensors reported multiple human fleets appearing in positions they could not reach simultaneously. Fighters launched from orbital stations, small but fast, attacking isolated enemy squads. The aliens began to retreat, unsure of what they were facing. Then Titanus moved. Its massive engines ignited, and the ship surged forward like a predator. Energy lances fired from its hull, striking alien warships with surgical precision. Rail cannons sent entire cruisers spinning into debris, and the Sun Spear cannon vaporized a fleet's command ship in a single strike. On the ground, human citizens watched from viewing stations and streets. Families who had feared the worst now cheered as the juggernaut carved paths of light and fire through the darkness. Children whispered the name of Titanus, their eyes wide with wonder, while adults felt hope bloom for the first time in decades. Raoul issued commands calmly but with authority. Helion, keep the fleet coordinated. Focus on their command ships first. We cannot allow them to reorganize. The AI's voice was steady. Directive confirmed. Targeting sequence optimized. Probability of victory increased by 60%. The alien fleets fought back with all their power. Massive ships unleashed beams of destructive energy, while swarms of fighters attempted to overwhelm the juggernaut. The shields of Titanus shimmered under the constant assault, absorbing every strike. Even so, debris from destroyed ships tore past the hull, rattling the interior and sending small shudders through the corridors. Raul's crew moved with practiced precision. Myra adjusted energy outputs to reinforce the shields, while engineers monitored weapon systems to prevent overheating. Every action, every decision, was a small thread in a larger tapestry, holding the defense of Vera together. Hours passed, and the alien coalition began to falter. Confused by the juggernaut's speed and power, many fleets collided with each other or ran into debris from destroyed ships. Morale fell. Messages intercepted by Helion revealed panic spreading through the enemy ranks. Raoul looked out at the stars, the vast battlefield illuminated by the fires of combat. "This is it," he said softly. "We will not let them take Vera." With a single nod, Helion fired the Sun Spear cannon again. A fleet of alien warships erupted in flames, their remains tumbling into the void. The surviving enemy forces began retreating in disarray, no longer able to maintain formation or strategy. Myra exhaled heavily, leaning against the console. "We did it, they're retreating." Raul's expression remained firm. "They are retreating, but they will return. Remember this. Victory is temporary if we do not remain vigilant. But today, humanity has stood its ground." On Vera, people poured into the streets and squares. They waved at the sky, sending cheers to the enormous ship hovering above. The image of Titanus, glowing with energy and pulsing with life, became a symbol of hope and strength. It was no longer just a machine, it was a promise that humanity could protect itself and its people. Helion's voice filled the bridge one last time. "Vera secured. Enemy forces in full retreat. Probability of survival for the system, 98%. Raoul allowed himself a small smile. "We've sent a message to the galaxy. Humanity will not bow. We will fight for every colony, for every life. Let them know we are awake." The crew of Titanus worked quietly, repairing systems and preparing for whatever came next. They knew the aliens would return, and the Union would soon act. But for now, they had won. Vera had survived, and with it, humanity's spirit burned brighter than ever. As Raoul gazed out at the stars once more, he whispered, "The storm has only begun. The galaxy will learn to fear humanity, but they will also learn to respect it. We are no longer small or broken. We are rising." The Juggernaut's engines thrummed with power, ready to strike wherever humanity needed it next. Across the stars, whispers of fear spread among the alien powers. Humanity was awake, and the age of submission was over. The galaxy had changed. News of Titanus and the victories at Arden Prime and Vera spread across star systems like wildfire. Human colonies that had once hidden in fear now raised flags of hope, preparing to support the juggernaut wherever it went. Across the stars, alien powers whispered in fear. Humanity was no longer submissive. Commander Rahul stood on the bridge of Titanus, gazing at the countless stars. Each light represented a world, a colony, a life. Many had suffered under alien domination, many had been abandoned, but now all eyes turned toward him and the ship he commanded. Myra came to his side, her eyes wide with awe. "Commander, the colonies are sending more volunteers. They want to join Titanus, to fight for humanity." Rahul nodded slowly. "They want to stand. That is what we've been waiting for. Humanity must rise as one, not as scattered survivors." Helion spoke from the central sphere, calm and steady. "Commander, intelligence reports indicate alien fleets gathering in secret. They intend to launch a coordinated attack to seize human territories. Probability of resistance without preparation, low." Rawl's jaw tightened. "Then we prepare. Not just to resist, but to show them that humanity will never bow again." The juggernaut shifted its engines, the hum of its power vibrating through every corridor. Its massive guns were ready, its shields strong. Every system was at peak efficiency. The crew moved with precision, repairing and recalibrating, knowing that the next battle could decide the fate of countless worlds. Soon, reports arrived of smaller skirmishes on the outskirts of human space. Alien patrols tried to intimidate colonies, but every time they attacked, Titanus appeared like a storm. Raids were turned back, ships destroyed before they could reach human populations. The fear of the juggernaut spread faster than the fleets themselves. Rahul gave orders calmly. "We do not hunt for revenge. We protect. We show humanity's strength and unity. Let the galaxy know that anyone who threatens us will face consequences." Myra nodded, fingers flying across the console. "Commander, the humans are inspired. They believe in this ship, in what we are doing. They are ready to fight with us." Helion's lights pulsed brighter. "Morale of human colonies, maximum. Enemy fear, high. Strategic advantage, increasing." The first coordinated strike came sooner than expected. Alien fleets attempted to seize a vital supply colony near the Orion Belt. The forces were numerous, but Titanus responded quickly. It arrived before the enemy could complete their attack, destroying their leading ships with precise strikes. The colony was saved without a single civilian casualty. Across the galaxy, human colonies sent signals of gratitude and support. Pilots, engineers, and soldiers volunteered to join the fight. Communications flowed like a river, spreading messages of coordination and hope. Humanity was no longer divided. Rahul addressed the crew of Titanus. "Every colony we protect, every fleet we save, shows the galaxy that we are awake. We are not afraid. We are not weak. Today, humanity stands as one." Helion's voice followed. "Commander, long-range surveillance indicates enemy factions retreating in fear. Coordination among alien fleets is breaking down. Probability of future victories, high if strategy continues." Rahul allowed himself a small smile. "Then we continue. Humanity will rebuild, will defend, and will rise. No one will underestimate us again." For days, Titanus moved through human space, protecting colonies, coordinating fleets, and inspiring courage. Everywhere it went, humans rallied, alien forces faltered, and the galaxy began to take notice. The juggernaut was no longer just a weapon. It was a symbol, a reminder of what humanity could achieve when it stood together. One evening, as the crew rested on the bridge, Rahul looked at the stars. "Myra," he said softly, Do you see that? Every light out there represents hope. Every life we protect strengthens us. This is what humanity was meant to be. Myra smiled. Yes, Commander. And with Titanus, no one can take that away from us. The Juggernaut's engines hummed like a heartbeat. Across the galaxy, alien powers began to change their calculations. They realized that humanity could no longer be subdued by fear or treaties. The age of submission had ended. Humanity had awakened, and it would not bow again. Raoul turned to the crew, his voice firm and full of resolve. The storm has begun, but we are the storm. We are humanity. Wherever we go, hope will follow, and those who threaten us will learn to fear what we can do together. Helian's calm tone filled the chamber. Directive confirmed. Humanity will stand. The galaxy will remember. As Titanus moved through the stars, carrying its crew and the spirit of a rising humanity, a new era began. One where humans were no longer passive observers of the galaxy, but active defenders of their people. One where humanity's ultimate war juggernaut ensured that no threat would ever again go unanswered. And for the first time in centuries, humanity knew its true strength.